Reads. I'm, of course, your host, Ryan Reed, and we're back. I want to thank everybody for support the last few months and everything. There just was a lot of problems with my wife losing her job and debt piling up, so I had to drop out of the whole comic book business for quite a while I was working on getting my other book together. So thank you for all the emails and support about during those times. And luckily here, as I wrap up 2014 here, I can nicely say that I am ready to head back into the comic book world here, slowly but surely. And I'm going to kick it right off now with Spider-Man the X-Men #1 by Elliott Callan. So let's get right into the pros here. First of all, this is actually an enjoyable series. It's a lot of fun putting Spider-Man in the last will and testament of Wolverine, about to flush out a traitor within the midst of the students and everything. And some of the gags and sight gags are just are pretty enjoyable and fun and everything. And they did later put a note that this takes place just right after the battle with the Red Skull and Axis, so that's why the X-Men are being a little bit more jerky than they should be in this situation and everything else, and that's going to even out here in the next couple of issues. But it's really enjoyable. I also love when they go to the museum and they run and battle out with Stegron, the Dinosaur Man, and Sauron, and it just turns into a really fun little story. Going to the cons, like I said, the whole little thing with the X-Men not being happy Spider-Man's there, or the fact Wolverine's into it, as the last will was really kind of a little detested and everything, which brought the book down a little bit. Also, the fact is, Peter comes in as Spider-Man as a guidance counselor. He is known to be paid and done under Spider-Man, under a different identity, so everything's privately held. It really takes away even more about how Spider-Man's, hiding his identity after the Mind Wave, as well as also putting him back in the teacher role, and then saying how that dated and aged the character, yet he's here with a bunch of superpowered teens. Why is it such a problem? Why does he have to run his own company, which we know is doomed to failure in the books, just to have the Parker look? I don't like that at all. Otherwise, it's a fun book. I'm enjoying it. I love the artwork by Fabian Cullen and all that, and it's really nice. So I'm going to give it a B. It's a really enjoyable storyline. I really liked it. And actually, moving into Axis here, I'm actually going to talk about the best, the middle, and the worst of 2014 in comics in Spider-Man, that is. Along the best here, I'm going to right now throw it right out there. Spider-Man 29 by Peter David. Wow. Miguel O'Hara just comes in perfectly. And despite being caught up in crossovers with Spider-Verse and everything, the book is great. It's enjoyable. The characters are so three-dimensional. The whole status of a man out of time with Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man, as well as putting in Alchemax here with Osborn Industries, is just well done and well played. The villains are, the storylines are good. And I really like that Miguel's trying to, basically get his grandfather and henceforth his family to be nicer people, even though he's not 100% thinking of how that could really affect the timeline and everything. But it's really enjoyable and it's well done. It's definitely a series for me. I definitely highly recommend you check it out in 2015 here. Spider-Man 2099, please get it. It's probably one of the best Spider-Man books on there. And speaking of one of the best Spider-Man titles out there that sadly just recently came to an end, which of course is Superior Foes of Spider-Man by Nick Spencer and Mark Lindemann. Oh, wow. Was this a great series from beginning to end? I mean, I know there was not a finite plan to keep it going, but wow. The whole use of Boomerang and the rest of the Sinister Several, as it was called to, was just a well-done book. I mean, this was Marvel's answer to the original Secret Six series from DC. The characters were so well done. The villains, the backstabbing, the kind of underworld, and just how everything flowed from beginning to end was just great. It was full of laughs. It was full of dramas. And the way the series ends is really, really good. I really love Shocker's little ending there as the leader of the Maggia. We know that's kind of done. But it was a really great series. I was so sad to see it end. I was able to check that out here despite my little limited budget here. But it was a great series. It was an A+ for me. I'm sad to see it end. And I really hope we'll see the Superior Foes return. Going a little bit more to the middle was the Hobgoblin Axis mini tie-in, which was to Axis. Actually, it was pretty enjoyable. I mean, everything done with the Hobgoblin and everything, as well as pushing everything with Phil Urich out of it and actually finding a decent use for Lily Hollister as Menace and actually putting her in the superhero role, actually was pretty well done. I'm hoping it's going to have a better lasting effect on the character because, even with the inversion, it just showed that, Roger Kingsley is just slimy, and he does everything. He got his hands dirty again, even though he was being a hero, but how he kind of slid out of it once again and disappeared, and the whole storyline was all over. It was really enjoyable, and I think it was one of the surprise hits for 2014. I really would love it if they continue this with Hobgoblin, but I don't think they're going to in math of this, so that was a great series. But going into Axis, and we all know I was a big Uncanny Avengers fan. I was really looking forward to it, and the storyline really fell flat. My biggest disappointments with the series was, of course, Havoc and Wasp. Havoc is one of my favorite X characters. Wasp is one of my favorite Avengers, and to see where they ended up in the story, it was just not well handled. And I know it's going to be talked about in the series and everything. I mean, I love Rick Remender's writing and everything, but I think because once they decided to turn this from an Uncanny Avengers storyline into a big giant event that's going to change the Marvel Universe, it undid the story, and it just ended up all over the place. I mean, it's just like what Avengers was. Time runs out. Now everything's making sense. Everything's coming together, but it's too little too late. In Axis, everything was fine, and then we had to make it a big event, and that just messed everything up. That was a very big disappointment. It wasn't I said the worst series or storyline in the Spider ones. I mean, the involvement of Carnage, Hobgoblin, even Spider-Man was really well done. I enjoyed that part of the story, but it was too all over the place. It really hurt it, and then the storyline itself, why it started off on such a great note, just fell so flat. And don't even get me started on Magneto, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. I'm not going to go there. I'm happy Dr. Voodoo's back. I am looking forward to Volume 2 of Uncanny Avengers, but that's just where I'm going to leave it, especially with Sabretooth's inversion, which I'm really curious about, but Tony Stark's, not so much. But let's get on to the worst of Spider-Man storylines in 2014, and I'm not going to even bother talking about the conclusion of Superior and the beginning of Amazing. I'll talk about one aspect. That was pretty bad done, but I think the worst, and everybody knows where I'm going here, is, of course, Black Cat's character assassination. How horrible has it been? I mean, I know that Michelini's going to pick it up here in Spiral coming in the spring, and that's actually when I plan to get back into Spider-Man main books here when Spider-Verse is all over. But wow, it's just so bad. Her character change, everything, the storylines, it's I can't even go into it. Black Cat's been one of my favorite Spider-Man character supporting cast for years, especially since Roger Stern made her a big name in the 80s, but how she was used at the end of Superior Foes being revealed to be Boomerang's girlfriend, who then double-crossed him and then took the Doctor Doom painting, that was Black Cat, the thief with heart, who loved what she did, but at the same time didn't mind getting to the bad guys as long as she got something out of it. Completely understood that. Her attacking, killing people, sabotaging things, going in with conspiracy theories, and then, magically putting on her glasses to look more intelligent. Where do you begin? It's so bad, and it's just horrible. I mean, the new costume, I'm fine with that. It's not bad, but it's so horrible. And then I'm going to go into, honestly, what is just right next to it, and that's the introduction of Silk. I have no problem with there being someone who got bit by the spider, even though the storyline is very contrived and everything. I mean, they made it work with Miles Morales, and Ultimate, even though it was more than one spider, which was revealed years ago, that the Osborn had done several experiments, and Peter Parker was just the first one. But the whole thing that the spider survived long enough to crawl off, everything in a split second, bite Cindy Moon, that she got all these powers. I'm fine with the powers and everything, but when the fact she can change her webbing at will, make it dissolve, the fact that she is a carbon copy of everything else, the fact she was in a bunker, the whole thing, the reason she was locked up was Marloon, and then they destroy evidence or ideas why it's all behind, now getting revealed with Spider-Verse, the fact she's better than Peter, except for these little aspects. I mean, I think my fellow reviewers said that. She's not a Mary Sue, she's just a story plot, and then they're going to try to make a successful storyline off it. I believe in the writer of the book, but it's not going to be successful, and nobody really likes the character. And it's a great example. Pardon me, I'm sorry, allergies are bothering me. But I mean, it's a horrible thing about, like with Jackpot several years ago with the Brand New Day storyline. I mean, she was shoved down our throats. Originally a nice aspect, but it went nowhere. And then they dumped the character. Then Alpha came along a couple years ago. Oh, it's going to be the greatest thing. Did not work in any shape or form. He's gone now. And now we're going to get Silk, her own series, everything else. Why? Just why? It's not a great idea. It's not a good marketing plan. And I know she's going to probably be around a little bit more since she's tied in with the spider bite. But I think she would have worked perfectly as just a main supporting character in the new Spider-Woman book. I believe they could have done more of that, not give her own series. There was no demand for it. Spider-Gwen's another story, but this isn't going to work. And I'm really upset about that. Otherwise, the only thing I'm going to end everything else on here for 2014 is the fact that finally, after almost a year, my book, My Life as a Comic Book Reader, is now out. You can go get it on Amazon. Please check it out. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. I've also gotten a great 5-star review on the book. I would like more reviews for the series. It is a great one. It's kind of a semi autobiography that I wrote and funded through Kickstarter and self-published. It's a great series. My Life as a Comic Book Reader. Please check it out by me and Natisha Reed, who's no relation to me. She just happened to have the same last name. And on that note, I'm just going to say 2014 has definitely been an up and down year, both for stories, my own life, and a few other things. But I'm looking very forward to 2015, what's to come, everything in the world of Spider-Man, in comics, and more. Because, we got to think big, and we got to charge ahead and believe that things will go well. So on that note, I will see everybody later, and I'll catch you on the crawl space.